Yeah, Rap Radar Podcast, Elliott Wilson.
B-Dot.
B-Dot, we really like that.
Really like
We
that.
got DJ Dram in here, man.
Yes, sir.
My light-skinned legend. My fellow light-skinned legend.
E.
One of the greatest mixtape DJs of all time.
Yes, sir.
And I think we just took the podcast game to another level because we've actually heard DJ Drama's album and you haven't. At this time. I don't know when you get this, by the time you get this, you will have heard it. But
Yes.
If not, it's on the way.
It's on the way.
Yeah,
but
but you
DJ
guys
Drama,
got
you
the
just played us your
exclusive.
new album.
Yes.
I'm really like that. You said
really
you
like
said
that.
you said you ain't really playing it for nobody so far.
Nah. Y'all the first. Yeah, it's been all in-house.
So how did that feel?
I gotta ask y'all, how's it feel?
Feels good. I
Yeah.
really like that. That title alone just stands out. What do you mean by that?
You know, it's kind of like, I think for a lot of my career outside of the mixtapes, I've been quite like humble and, you know, even like when I've done interviews, I've played the politically correct role at times. So I think just in this last like year and a half for me, it's like, nah, fuck that. Like, like I've given a lot to this culture. Like, I'm really like that. Like, y'all gotta stop playing with me. You know what I'm saying? Stop testing what I've done, what I continue to do, or what I'm gonna keep doing. It kind of got inspired by the Forever record. Jim says on that record, you know, I'm really like that. And I just kind of ran with it, you know what I'm saying?
It's your first album in 6 years.
It's crazy.
What you been doing all this time?
Nothing. Yeah, I ain't been doing nothing, just like
a lot of assists.
yeah, kicking my feet up, you know. Yeah, I saw somebody say that actually on social media the other day because I made a comment. I said, you know, I brought the mixtape game back to life, thanks Tyler. And then somebody said something like, yeah, DJ Drama was killing the mixtape game, and then he got raided, and then, you know, we haven't heard from him since or something. And I was like, actually, I've been running a very successful record label, home of Lil Uzi, Vert, and Jack Harlow, you know, among other things. But, you know, it's weird because it's like there's been recent years when, for me, it's been like felt quite successful, you know, and definitely in a financial way, and a lot of times. But then I've also have seen comments like, "Damn, where's Drum at?" or "Whatever happened to DJ Drama?" or something. And then it's like, "Nigga, I'm here." Like y'all don't see, but then you know I have to remember a time more now so than at one point. But you know, there's still a large group of people that didn't know we were behind, you know, Uzi or Jack for you know some time. And then I think even with Call Me If You Get Lost, it was like, you know, it was like, okay, like Drum's back. You know what I mean?
And when you announced the project, I think I saw it on Instagram. You captioned it. You said, "Anger is a poor man's sport." Why is anger a poor man's sport?
Because, I mean, if you think about it, like for someone to be able to get that emotion out of you, you know, to be able to get that rise out of you, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's coming down to this level, you know. Someone who can control their anger, you know, then you're kind of like kicking your feet up, you know what I mean? And like in a very relaxed manner, you know. So it's like it's a high testament.
You've gotten
you know,
better at that,
a better frequency.
You've gotten better at that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've never been one, at least publicly, like to have shown a lot of discourse or a lot of like things don't really get under my skin. And to be honest, I always give a testament to that to my early days of blogging at XXL, you know, because it was like, for me, just like with like social media and stuff, like that was an early time for me where, you know, it was like there was MySpace where it was like everyone loved you, and then I got into the blogosphere, and then I realized everyone didn't love me. So, you know, through my, no pun intended, dramas through the years, however people have said shit, like, you know, it is what it is. I know when I walk down the street, or, you know, when I'm on tour, when I go places, all I've ever gotten is love. So, you know, the side talk has never really bothered me that much. What I do like care about on mostly is that, you know, like I feel like for most of my career, and me and my guys, like, you know, we've always done stand-up business, and I'm a stand-up guy. So my reputation is important to me, you know, for people to know, like, you know, I do good business, and, you know, I do good by people, you know what I'm saying?
And you do good albums too, man.
Yeah, what's the vision around this album, man? What was the vision?
You know, it's interesting because it was like, it kind of, I haven't been in album mode for a while, and it really just kind of snuck up on me. I have been working on records for some time, and then, as the year was progressing, we just kept, going in with records, and then just the energy just felt right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just with everything that was going on, from the Grammy win to the success of our label to just like, having the eyes and ears back on me, it was like, yeah, now like, okay, it's time. Like, let me get back into this mode.
Yeah, you contribute obviously on everyone else's project, but with yourself, is it difficult putting albums together?
It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I guess it's an art and a science to it. I think that producers and DJs, when we make albums, obviously for the most part, we don't, rap ourselves. So it's like, you have a canvas and you got to paint this picture and, use these colors and your palette and however you want to paint the picture, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's definitely not easy, and you got to work around people's schedules and, artists are artists and, it's a lot of, the complicated part too comes after the music is done too,
Oh yeah, clearance time.
Yeah, that, that takes some time, and then but really painting a vision. But it's really fun, it really is, and just again, like, I'm a DJ, like, again, my goal was to get my name on a flyer. So to think about all the projects I've done, or this being my 6th studio album, like, just to have that opportunity, I don't take that shit for granted. Like, that shit is a blessing.
Yeah, and you call like the Avengers of rap on this project, man. You got like the who's who. Even as DJ Dram, is it still difficult to get the people that you want?
It depends. I mean, some phone calls are easier than others. You'd be surprised. There's a guy like Wayne who still to this day, you call him or you send him a beat, and 24 hours later, you get an amazing...
That's a turnaround. That's the Weezy turnaround for drama.
Weezy he's a monster. I mean, that's somebody who for sure has definitely always come through for me, and always, like, whenever I send him something, it comes right back.
Yeah, what was the one with Weezy on the album that we just heard?
It was the one with it was Roddy, Weezy, and Gucci.
Ooh,
Yeah.
beat I know about that Goo-Wop.
The Goo-Wop.
Yeah. Shout out to Goo-Wop.
Shout out to Gucci.
Yeah.
I think the thing that was most interesting about listening to the album was the pairings, right? Like, when that stood out to me, it was like you had Rick Ross and West Side Gun. Like, I never saw that. And then you also had like Nipsey and Jeezy. Like,
how'd you get a Nipsey Hussle verse, Dram?
That's my guy, man. Rest in peace to Nip.
Yes.
We got a lot of history together. Obviously, and B-Dot wants to argue this, but Crenshaw is part of the Gangsta Grill's legacy.
Wait, I don't know about this. You argue
I didn't consider Crenshaw a Gangsta Grill's project because it doesn't say Gangsta Grills on it. It says DJ Drama presents Crenshaw.
Crazy.
Branding, man.
This is on your bracket show? Brackets? You bracked up incorrectly?
He left it out of the brackets because I didn't catch it till later because I realized, I was like, damn, which ones did we leave out? And I was like, we left out Crenshaw. He was like, that's not a Gangsta Grill. I'm like, nigga, that's definitely a Gangsta Grill. Interestingly enough, this is actually my 2nd record with Jeezy and Nip. I had a record on Quality Street Music album that I dropped in 2012 called Never Die. It was Jeezy, Nip, and Jada on there. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's the fun about it, is being able to put the pairings that you wouldn't expect or you don't see often, guys coming together.
Yeah.
Like, even like the Saha and La Russell record, that was fun. Doug and Uzi, Uzi really spitting on there, like that was fun.
Yeah, it seems like you got like guys to really like Wiz Khalifa, like you got guys to kind of spit hard, like really go in, like some you don't often hear them maybe rapping that sort of like urgency. Was that, you think that was inspired by the conversations or just to be?
It's a DJ Drama project, you got to come with it. They know they can't play around.
It's somber hearing Nip. Like, I still struggle listening to him, even watching old interviews. But Jeezy's verse on there is really incredible. That one really stood out to me.
Jeezy was very excited when I asked him to be on that record, and if I'm not mistaken, he recorded it the day of Takeoff's memorial. And you hear some references to Take on there, you hear some references to Dolph on there. So I feel like he put a lot of heart and passion in that record, and even him being on there with Nip. It's tough for all of us to hear Nip and to listen to Nip for sure to this day. So, but I mean, for me to have Nip on my projects means a lot to me.
All right. So it's still like putting pieces to the puzzle of how you want to pair certain artists.
Definitely. We as a team too, we kind of like map it out and put a board up and, just kind of look at the names of the records and, just play around with it and say, oh, this person might sound dope on this, or let's go here or let's go there. So
we saw the Dry East board on social media. You like blurred out the names.
I blurred it out, but I left enough up there to create some anticipation.
So did Jack Harlow get on your line and say, I'm doing my own joint on this one, man. You ain't paying me with nobody. I'm the franchise of this Generation Now thing now. You're a franchise.
Jack Harlow is definitely the franchise player.
I like how he says you're going to be salty when I get the Grammy. I mean, at this time, we don't know if he's going to get the Grammy while we were taping this, but, there was some backlash, it seemed like, of people just being critical about him being Grammy nominated. And, it's like, as much as we say we're progressive, like, I feel like he still faces a little bit of resistance. Like, what do you think it is, and what's your take on all that?
I think that his album was like highly anticipated and for what people may have expected from it in some ways. So, and I think that we were in a space where it was like Jack Harlow was everywhere you looked. Yeah. Like he was all over the place. You couldn't turn on.
Became a heartthrob. He's a heartthrob now.
He became a heartthrob. He was on fucking 4 commercials back to back to back. If you're watching the NBA finals, so it was like, you look on social media, it was Jack Harlow, Jack Harlow, Jack Harlow. So, and especially, him being a white artist in the hip hop space, when it's like maybe overkill in a way, you know what I'm saying? So that it can sometimes come, back to bite an artist in some ways. So, it comes with the territory. I think that he plays it well, and he uses it as ammunition. Yeah. So I'm excited just for the music he's working on now, leading up to, what the wins and, the criticisms that he went through last year.
Even on the song too, you get a little bit of got a couple bars off. Yeah, is that rap? I guess.
I've been playing around with the bars a little bit. Jay Stone. I just dropped the tape with Jay Stone. And I did somewhat of a hook on there too. So I've been, just trying it out.
We forgive you for your Juicy performance, man. We forgive you for that. I saw that. You see you do the Juicy?
Oh yeah, you haven't seen it yet though. Yeah. T-Pain's podcast, and he has like karaoke, and the way he set it up is like if you have a gun to your head and you have to perform one song. What's it gonna be? And I was like, oh, shit, fucking Juicy. And he was like, all right, go up there and do it. I mean, I know the lyrics by heart, but performing it is a little different. My cadence is not Notorious B.I.G.
It's funny, like the cadence of shit talking and the cadence of bars, right? Like you would know better than most how hard it is.
But I think that like when I think about it, or when I talk about it, it's like, as much as I don't like rhyme, like I take a lot of pride in the shit that I say on tapes, and I think, I don't know, I hope it doesn't go over people's heads too much, but like I be feeling like, and I would assume that the reason why I'm still going and still at it and people still want me on their projects is because I really be saying some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Bars.
I get very creative. Like, the song on French's new album is called Jizza, and he took the shadowboxing beat and, he even hit me about that. I say at the end of it, like, I'm shadowboxing with myself, or I say at the beginning, I say, I do a Coke Boys reference, but I say it in the way that they did on the original shadowboxing,
Do you have a script when you go into the booth
and
make these declarations?
I don't. I go strictly off the top of the head. It's very seldom, sometimes just in conversations, I may write something down just to like a notation of something like, oh, that'd be hard to say on a tape. But for the majority of the time, when I go in the booth, I just, I vibe off the record and I just try to get as creative as I can be. And then, like, it's like for me, even at this point, like just recently I did this project with this up and coming artist named Ayla. She was an R&B artist. So it's like I like doing stuff that might be left of center of what people would expect from me, because I can play with my cadence and my voices. I'm not necessarily yelling like I would on a Jeezy project. And then, you know, I talk about my real life. Like on her project, I said something about, you know, my therapist asked me the other day what my love languages are. And somebody was like, I was in here with another artist, and it was like, you have a therapist? And I was like, yeah, I do. And, you know, I think just the same way the artists that we love and we call our greats talk about their real lives, that's what I do when I go on projects and tapes, and I have through the years. Like whatever's going on in my life, or however it may be, however it may play onto the music, I go in and talk about it.
Yeah. Like Fez taking pictures. You want me to smile for the camera?
Classic. I was definitely going through some shit when Fez taking pictures.
We'll talk about the year you had. Last year you released 11 Gangsta Grill's.
It was 11?
11 branded mixtapes, man. Did you set out to like release that much music?
Nah, I did. It just kind of happened.
Did you tell no to anybody?
Did I tell no to any? No, I don't think I told anyone no. I mean, no one came to me that deserved the no neither. But yeah, I think it might have been more than 11, but 11 is close. So that would be like one every month.
I could divide.
Nah, it just kind of happened that way. It was like, you know, the game was back. What I think happened is that, so if we look at the last, like, I don't know, what do you want to say, 5, 6 years? When did If You're Reading This, It's Too Late come out? What's that, 2015?
Yeah, 2015.
So that was kind of to me, that was like the first like mixtape that went to streaming platforms, right?
Yep.
So like before that, you know, there was a difference when like a mixtape would come out, it would go to, you know, a DatPiff or live mixtapes and stuff like that. So then If You're Reading This Is Too Late came out, and it was known as a mixtape, and it went on the streaming platform. So then from there, you know, everything, even in the mixtape space, was going onto the streaming platforms. And even still, like I did do a couple of tapes like before Tyler. Like I definitely have to shout the Westside Gun. You know, he had me on a project.
One of the
my nigga wife and Lucci.
Hermes.
We did, yep. It was Hermes, I forget which
7?
one. It could have been.
The 7, yeah, we did a car test for that.
Yep, we did that one. And then I did 650 Lucci with Lucci. Shout my nigga Lucci, free wife and Lucci. But with Tyler's album, you know, being as polarizing as it was, and of course Grammy Award winning.
Hello.
But the way that project was structured with me on it, and it being like having that mixtape feel, I think it just set a new space for like what people used to do with mixtapes or have me involved. It was like, okay, now we can do this again and still go, you know, to the DSPs in a way where it's like, it's still that mixtape feel. I can run it back and, you know, talk my shit, and, you know, it's not one version with me or without me on it. It's just like, this is a mixtape and it's still going on the DSP. So after the success of Tyler, I think, you know, a lot of people was like, oh yeah, like let's go get Dram for this, and you know we can still put it out this way.
Right. Yeah. One that stood out to me was the D-Day, Dreamville.
Crazy.
That stick, man.
That was I was performing that all summer long on tour. It was fun too. Stick was a record that, like, I think when we dropped the tape, we literally probably dropped it like the day before Dreamville Festival. Yeah, and they performed Stick, and the shit went crazy.
Yeah, it rang off.
Yeah,
it rang off at Dreamville Festival, and that was a big project. You know, that was a big tape, and it happened during a time when I was performing at Dreamville. I did a Gangsta Grill set with Tip, Jeezy, and Wayne. Yep. And then as soon as I got to Dreamville, you know, as I'm sitting down with Rob Markman and Wayno, I find out that, you know, we win a Grammy for Best Rap Album. And it was a real 360 moment for me, you know, just to be at Dreamville Festival, to be performing with these guys that I started my career with, And then, you know, to have won the Grammy for, you know, a album, you know, was like, it was what dreams are made of, you know. And again, this kid from Philly that came up watching the Roots, and like here I am about to go perform in front of 75,000 with, you know, 3 monsters, Jeezy, Tip, and Wayne.
Right.
And, you know, I just found out I won a Grammy for a mixtape series that I just started in the 4th Ward, you know. So D-Day was a big one. D-Day was definitely a big one. And the Jeezy was a huge one too. I think that, you know, the feeling, the nostalgia of me and Jeezy together, like for those who were there, you know, it was bringing back those times. And then, you know, for those who weren't, they were like, oh, this is what it felt like. Right. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's how a lot of people know me in a lot of ways from my early come up with Jeezy.
Did you know that song was gonna be a banger when you first heard it?
Definitely. I mean, shit. That when I first heard it, I don't know if Cole had even gotten on it yet. And then they were like, Cole heard it. I was like, yeah, I'm on this one. So, yeah, that shit had that feel to it. Shit was crazy.
Yeah, we talk about back to Jeezy a little bit.
Yep.
There was a funny bit on Drink Champs where he talks about he saw you the first time and he came to your house and you're like in the hood, but you still made him take his shoes off when he came through.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Yeah, I had carpet, you know.
Okay, how successful. He was on, but you wasn't on as much as him at that time, right?
Nah, actually, I was more known than he was.
Okay,
at
got
that
you.
point.
Talk
So,
that talk, Dram. Okay.
Yeah, I was, you know, he was coming to me because, you know, Gangsta Grills had somewhat of a buzz in the streets, and he, at that point, he had only had his album Come Shop With Me out. So, you know, this is before we even did Streets Is Watching. So this was a crib, like, you know, Tip had came through. This was where Lil Jon came through, where, you know, the signature Gangsta Grills drop was born.
Yeah.
And I made him take his shoes off. I had made everybody take their shoes off when they came in.
That's
so
nice.
It's only right.
Yeah.
Shoes are dirty, man. The fuck?
You know, me and Jeezy have so much history together, so it's just like for us to, you know, we went on kind of somewhat of a run with the tape where we did, you know, a bunch of shows together and everything, and it just felt good, like, you know, just to think of like where we came from and like where we started, you know, to watch like these records ring off, like the records that Jeezy has, those Thug Motivation records, like the energy, you know, that they still bring, and why it's definitely timeless. So. And it's like watching that or being a part of that is like, wow, who would have thunk it, you know? Yeah.
It was just when you guys like taking off together and then you obviously had a fallout. Like, how does it feel to, like, you know, conflict resolution, like to get back with someone after such a tough time? Like,
it's great, you know? I mean, it's we're grown men, you know? So like, it's like you go through things and you have differences, and it's like to rectify them and then to, you know, think back and like, kind of be able to laugh at it and, you know, be open about it and talk about it, you know. It's like, it's just grown man business, you know. And it's like, after being in the game for so long, you know, you've seen it many times within our culture, within hip hop, and, you know, people have differences and you hope for, and especially when it's like people come up together, you know, and like we did, and it's like, you know, we had our differences and we fell out, and, you know, we were able to patch it up and move on and do bigger and better things.
You guys hit the road as well.
Yeah.
How difficult was it narrowing it down? Because you guys did the B-side shows.
Oh, it was tough. It was so many records, bro.
Man. Were there joints you had forgot about?
It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah. We went through them. Like, we sat in this room too, and we had to have like 4 boards.
Wow.
To put all the records on. And we literally went through like every mixtape and every album. So like, me and Jeezy alone have, I think, 10 mixtapes. And then he has, you know, some others, like I think another like maybe 5 or 6. So we literally went through everything just to like see like what records we gonna do. And it was, even when we did the shows, it was like, it was an hour and a half, 2 hours in, like, this is tough work right here, you know, it's 4 quarters right here.
And people still probably wanted other records that you didn't
I feel like we hit pretty much all the ones that people wanted.
Okay.
Is there anything we missed? I don't know. We might have missed one or two, but overall, we pretty much touched on everything.
Is it just as good? Is it the same kind of feeling when like a grown ass man gets the same response as like not circulate, but one of the big songs like as a single? Like those songs are like B-side cuts that they get the same response.
That shit's dope. Like just to watch, because you think like artists like that, when he goes and does his shows, he probably has a good 40, 50 minutes of material of the ones that he has to perform, but then, being able to like perform the fucking Trap or Die intro and the one like that, that record to this day still gives me chills when I listen to it.
One of the best intros of all time.
For sure.
Take that, Joe Budden.
So for us to go up there and be able to perform that, it's like, it's super fun.
And it was just good seeing you guys reunite on the Snowfall project.
Yeah, man.
Felt like you gave him a boost. It felt like he got his groove back.
Yeah, the drama relit Jeezy's fire.
Yes.
I mean, shout to my man Cannon too.
Cannon
was really involved on that project, so it was a group effort. I feel like we all played our parts. At the end of the day, it's still like, I'm the bells and the whistles. It's Jeezy who is the main player. I'm Scorsese. You know what I'm saying? He's De Niro. So, but. I think as a collaborative effort between myself, Cannon, and Jeezy, like, Snow was in a position that he hadn't been in some time. And, I saw some on one of the lists or something, he said, best comeback of the year was Young Jeezy. So feels good to see my man, get his due and his flowers.
So what are the ingredients to making like an impactful mixtape?
From like DJ Drama's perspective? Yeah. You got to treat it like an album, first of all. Like, as much as it's a mixtape, and then there's different forms, in today's day, we see more formats of it being, new original music than the dedication style, where it's like freestyles and things like that. But even if it's a tape where it's a mixtape and you're doing freestyles, I feel like, the best ones are when you kind of pick beats that people wouldn't expect, or, obscure beats in a sense, like not just like the hit records. Like one of my favorite tapes to this day still, of course, is the Pharrell mixtape. And for that one, because, the beats that he chose weren't, he rhymed on like Liquid Swords and, just like, he rhymed on Trap or Die, like shit you would never think Pharrell would rap on. Definitely, just the sequencing of the project. I feel like intros are very, very important on a mixtape, and then for me, if someone has me involved in a mixtape, like I want you to have me in mind when you're working on it, in a sense, like give me room to breathe, like give me spaces where I can do my 1-2. Like, I can't stand when I see people talking like, I wish DJ Drama would stop talking all over the music.
It still
I love
bothers
it.
Nigga, I don't talk all over the music. Like, I talk in my pockets, I talk where I'm supposed to talk. And then like when the artist is there to do and spit their bars, I let them rock, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's just, good placement. There's time, a good bring back, and, and just for me, just like, to be as creative as possible when it comes to the music, and just really just play off the music. Like, I try to be as creative as possible with what I say, and for it to make sense with whatever the song is.
I thought on the album you did a good job of great job of these sort of like super thug kind of like, like looking for the club exit kind of energy hip hop shit, and then like you'll have records that more catered to the female audience in a sense, right? Like that's when you get in your hey baby bag, right?
Yeah, my baby bag. Yeah, that's my baby bag.
Talk about that balance. It's like you take pride in kind of those records, right?
Absolutely. One of my biggest records in my career is Wishing with Chris Brown. So we all love women, and we all love to, you know, make women happy. So you definitely want to cater to that audience as well. And then, you know, through my career, like even through the mixtapes, like there's been a lot of mixtapes for me that, you know, that have been, you know, female orientated, like a Chris Brown in My Zone or Jeremiah Late Nights, or even the most recent one I did with Elliott, like, you know. So yeah, I feel like the mixtape world at one point was very male orientated, or mixtape DJs in a sense. And then, you know, for me, it's just like, I guess trying to change that, or being a part of just the transition of, you know, mixtapes also, and as time went on, mattering to women as well.
Was it more challenging to construct those songs, and like are there particular moments on this album where you did it and you're very proud?
I wouldn't say more challenging, you know. I mean, for me, it's like, I feel like I do that just as well as I can scream on, you know, a street record, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I like women, so I know how to talk to them.
Then what's the joint with all the female rappers on it?
That's with Lakia, Cali, and Illuminati.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was no way we was going to make an album in 2023 without, you know, having some female representation on there. So I think those are, you know, 3 voices, new voices that I wanted to showcase and give, you know, opportunity to.
All right. How do you determine what's quality street music?
I mean, definitely when it hits them speakers.
Oh yeah, with sound system you got there.
Yeah,
you feel the wind.
When you hit them, you got to feel the wind from the Osbergers.
So if like a verse isn't up to standard, up to par, like, would you inform the artist? Like, can you do it again?
Yeah, I would go in and give them constructive criticism. Okay. Absolutely. You know, I think that's necessary, and I think that, you know, that's what one would want. And as people have done with me at times, like, yo, I need you to come a little harder. Like, you know, Jeezy does it to me all the time.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, when he's definitely, he made me go back in on Snowfall, like on the song Grammys. When I gave him the first draft, he was like, yo, how did you do this tape and this song and not mention that you had a fucking Grammy on Grammys? And I was like, yo, my bad, you right. Like, so I went back in like, yeah, I really got that. Like, so.
Where do you keep the Grammys, Dram?
It's at my crib. I have a trophy room.
Okay.
And I have some BET awards in there. I got my Justo mixtape awards in there.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, rest in peace, Justo.
Yeah.
I got some other awards, and then I built a glass case and the Grammys in there, and then I put a poster board up behind it. It says Best Rap Album, and it's like Call Me If You Get Lost, the cover.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty nice.
Do you know what Tyler makes of all the Gangsta Grillz craze that he sort of helped resurrect?
I've talked to him about it. You know, I mean, I definitely give him his praise and his due. You know, and I've thanked him multiple times. I'm like, yo, like, are you watching this? Like, you see what you did, right? And he said it was like it was like the bear that was just hibernating. You know what I mean? That he woke up. So, but I in no time do not, you know, or make sure to give him his credit and his praise for like really, you know, bringing this energy back and like, you know, kind of bringing a new life to Gangsta Grillz for sure.
So the one song we didn't get to hear at this time is the Tyler intro, man.
Yeah.
So can you give us a hint of what to expect?
It's gonna be high energy. It's gonna be high energy. Get ready. It's gonna be a hell of a way to start an album. It's gonna be a hell of a way to start an album, and I feel like it's only right, you know, to start the album with the creator.
So he's got the beat at this time.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got the beat. It's a Cannon beat.
Oh man, you know I'm a Don Cannon groupie, man.
So if you lit the fire, is Cannon gonna flood the market this year? Get to share some of these beats?
Yeah, man. Cannon's, you know, he's back in mode. I mean, he had a hell of a couple years actually. The last 2 years, I think, like he did a rundown. It was like 22 placements or something. Like,
yeah,
he's quietly a monster out
so
here.
underrated,
let's break down. What are some of the people may not know that Wikipedia page might be busted? Like, what's Some of the classic Don Cannon productions people should be aware of.
I mean, of course, there's the Go Crazy.
Yes.
Jeezy Go Crazy.
Jeezy and Jay-Z. There's fucking Cannon remix
Lil
with Lil Wayne.
Yes.
Artist Storytelling, Outkast.
Ooh.
Numbers on the Board.
Pusha T. That's a classic. You got some shit.
Yeah.
Circulate,
Jeezy. It's another Jeezy one too. What's the other one? Mr. 17.5.
Oh, that low key might be my favorite Jeezy record, Mr. 17.5.
Really?
Inspiration 102.
Crazy.
People sleep on that. Yeah.
Great record.
Yeah, they got good chemistry together.
Yeah.
Yes.
They got good chemistry together. So, that's my like, I feel like me and Cannon are like Batman and Superman, I saw him do an interview the other day and he said something like, it was like Batman and Robin. I was like, nah, fuck that. It's definitely not Batman and Robin. It's Batman and Superman.
So what character is this Lake guy, man? Generation Now, man. Lake.
Damn, who would Lake be? Lake would be like...
Wolverine.
Yeah, Lake's like Professor X.
Professor X.
Yeah, Lake's like Professor X for sure.
Oh, and B, congratulate. You got to congratulate, man. It's a little item in the business side. Generation Now, re up with Atlantic.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
So that's what I smelled
Somebody
earlier?
said bag drop. They said bag drop in the comments.
Smell like crisp $100 bills when I walked in here.
Lake definitely has a new vehicle outside right now. We should all go hop in it and do a car test in that thing.
Well, let's talk about the early days of Generation Now. Like, Dram reminded me that the first time he was on here, he was trying to pitch Uzi Vert to us.
Yes.
And he said I wasn't receptive at the time.
I feel like this was the very beginning of Rap Radar Podcast. When did y'all start Rap Radar Podcast? Like
2017.
No, hell no.
Oh, 2015.
2015.
2015.
Yeah, I feel like we were one of the first to do it. And so I think I was pitching Uzi to you to do the podcast, and then you were like, well, you have to come.
That's pretty on brand.
That sounds like me, right?
And this is like...
Subtle charmer that I am. Easy L.
So this had to be like, I don't know if Love is Rage was out yet. It might have just came out or it hadn't come out yet. So mind you, 2015...
I'm shooting myself some bill. I don't think
2015, this is in the midst of the Drake and Meek situation. This is like first time I talk about it was coming to see y'all.
Yep.
So it was like, I took those shots for my man. Like I was like, damn, I gotta, be the sacrificial lamb because we're trying to get Uzi this look. So we came and did the Rap Radar podcast. And that was one of Vert's first interviews, and we was introducing them to y'all for sure. And I was trying to be like, yo, this guy's hot. And you were like, no, you gotta come.
But I remember also we was in one of the clubs in New York, and like it was a show. I think you hosted the show, and Uzi came out to, what was the record? The Tell Me What You Want? Guest feature?
What Do You Want?
What Do You Want? To me, that was the first record that like I knew of him that really took off.
Yeah,
like people may not realize that because he's got so many hits now. He's got a hit now.
Yep.
He's built a great career, but like that feature was the one, and he did it. I forget the club in New York, and I saw the way the crowd was reacting, and that from that moment on, I started to really believe.
Was that the show that it was I think Post Malone was there too? Was it that one?
No.
It
Some
wasn't
other
that
acts were on there though.
You sure?
Yeah.
And there was a heavy police presence.
Cause I got a picture from that show, and it's me, Vert, and Post Malone. Dave East came out that night too. You might not remember that. Might be the one.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the one though.
But that record was like
the
first
off.
one.
Yeah, that definitely
What
was.
You Want.
That was it. That was the record before Love Is Rage. So
yeah. So it was around that. Like then I liked that song, but I was still like, we still need Dram.
Right.
But yeah, probably also because like you said, because the Drake Me thing was going on at that time, so it was like it was able to take it. You was
like, hey, I'm gonna get this exclusive. I'm gonna ask these questions. So, me and I said, Cannon, you gotta come with me.
Because Cannon don't
really do interviews like that. So that was fun though. I mean, look, that was a classic. That definitely was a classic interview. And that was around the time that was the last album I had put out. So
Now fast forward, 6 years later, a diamond plaque from Uzi.
Crazy.
And has one of the
EXO Tour Life, right?
EXO Tour Life.
Now he has arguably one of the hottest records in the game right now. Just
incredible. I Just Wanna Rock, going crazy. And he's working on a new album. So, I mean, Uzi's like had a hell of a career, you know, and I think that, you know, he's a staple artist, definitely for his generation.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if you look at like the XXL class that he was part of, and you think about the cipher and like what people had to say about that class, and we look at that class now, like all those guys are like, you know,
real guys.
Yeah, 21 Savage,
Made men.
Kodak Black, Yachty, Uzi, like, yeah, they're made men. Like, so to have an artist like that, you know, for us, and our name of our label is Generation Now, it's like, it's a testament to, you know, what we stood for and what we were always trying to do.
And again, must be proud of that conflict resolution.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, first off, time heals everything, you know, and I've been in the game so long, and, you know, I've had conflicts. So it's like, you almost kind of just gotta let it play out in some ways. And it's like, you know, of course, there's always bickering, or always has been, with artists and their labels and things. And, you know, for us, unfortunately, it played out publicly, you know, which obviously no one wants to see. And then, you know, during that time, we took an approach or a stance where we didn't like come out publicly and defend ourselves. And, you know, we were made to look like the bad guy, you know, from other companies that, you know, I didn't have to paint it that way, you know what I'm saying? But for us, it was like, you know, we're stand-up guys, we do stand-up business, you know, and to be here in a space where, you know, we're us and Vert are like family, you know what I mean, and back working and back in a good spot. It's like, you know, time heals all.
Right. Yeah. And time seems to be on you guys' side. I mean, like with artists like Jack Harlow and Lil Uzi, people often talk about like, it's no artist development, you know what I'm saying? But these guys are pretty developed. What is about Generation Now that you guys are doing that I guess other people aren't?
Doing the tough work.
You know, I mean, I think for us too, like, we're like the three-headed monster, like me, Cannon, and Lake, with how we approach our position within the culture, you know. Like Lake is, you know, a mastermind when it comes to business, when it comes to touring, when it comes to, you know, just the behind the scenes work. You know, he does that effortlessly and an incredible job. Cannon, you know, when it comes to the music, like we call him the wizard, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to the sound and the sonics and, you know, behind those boards, like, that's what he does. And then I'm DJ Drama, like I get to go out there and wave the flag and, you know, do the interviews and be vocal, or, you know, like kind of just be the mouthpiece for what Generation Now is. And, you know, we let our artists be who they are, you know, be as creative as they want to be, and we support them as much as, you know, they want, and in the directions they want to go at, and, you know, we're as involved or as not involved as they want us to be at times. So, you know, we're a very boutique label, so it's small, so it's like, you know, we can give our artists the attention that's needed, you know what I'm saying? We don't have 10 acts or, you know, multiple acts where it's like, you know, we're just trying to see who wins. Like, we're very vested and invested when we sign somebody. Like, we believe in them. And yeah, you know, I mean, we see that passion in the guys, you know, from very early on. Like, those are two guys that I feel like, you know, they knew their vision, and some way or somehow we're gonna be here. You know, we just also were able to lend them the shoulders to stand on, to, you know, move a lot faster, or stand next to us to, you know, be able to say like, yo, this guy's up next.
Because you said on the Jack solo record, like you were saying how when you went to Kentucky, you told everybody that this was going to be the guy.
I was saying this guy from Kentucky, I was telling everybody, like, I'm telling you, like,
Kentucky.
This guy's gonna be it, you know? I mean, there's somebody in this room sitting in one of these seats that wasn't really a believer.
Is this me? I hope it isn't me.
Yeah, it's you, man.
I didn't?
Yeah.
Jack? I was front on Jack too.
Hell yeah, you was front on Jack.
Remember the article you wrote where you said, oh, I have to admit I'm wrong?
Oh yeah, goddamn.
Yeah. I was wrong about Jack Harlow. Yeah.
We were supposed to do a conversation with Jack, and you was kind of.
I was hesitant.
Hesitant.
Yeah.
So what's popping was really
We had
popping.
to make you a believer. But it's I've been doing that my whole career. So.
Yeah. I also thought Dram had fell off. It was gonna be over for him.
Definitely.
Oh man, Elliott.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's get some light skin things off.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought that was just.
How could you ever think that drama had fell off and I was done for?
I just felt like things were in a bad spot and it was unspoken tension. You know how this game is. Like if somebody's, it's a cold game, man. You know how it is. Like if you got to stay hot in this thing, and I think there was a downtime for you, and you got up and resurrected even more majorly than you ever had your whole career.
Look at me now.
I love being
hotter than ever.
The hottest ever. Hottest you ever been.
Damn, you was wrong.
And you still being humble, man. Talk your shit about this album, man. You being humble in this interview.
No, let's not. Hold on. Let's go back to this.
I try to spin him.
Let's go back to this.
All right, okay.
After all that I've gone through and all that I've done,
XXL, our history.
Not even just our history, just even through my career, like there have been times when I've faced some adversity, you know what I'm saying, and had to fight back from it. So I just, it baffles me for you to think that it would be over for me. Like, huh? How many times do I have to tell y'all and show y'all? Like, I've been here, I'm not going nowhere. But yeah.
What's the key though? Like you could say at a certain point though, like, you caught up in this Drake Meek shit. You're becoming somewhat of a scapegoat in it, right?
I've been through that.
Right? And then Uzi, the fallout with Uzi.
Yeah.
So like the odds are against you. Like talk to, there's ups and downs in this business. Like what advice would you give to somebody that may be going through a hard time where certain people aren't returning their calls or they're not being treated like with the respect and the relationships they used to have? Like how do you rebound from that?
So let's put it in context, first of all, because let's start with the raid, number one. I got locked up for fucking mixtapes and they took everything and people thought it could be over.
Freeze the accounts.
Then I went through, the Jeezy and Gucci situation.
Yep.
And then there was the Drake and Meek and then, the Uzi. So it's like, I feel like you can't show your greatness until you're tested with adversity. You know what I mean? Like you have to get knocked down to get up for people to be like, oh, okay,
yep.
He's the real one. Like that's the real deal, The same way in sports in some ways. Like I think that's what makes LeBron great in so many ways is, being, counted out and being able to, still do what he's done.
Yeah.
But I think again, like even through all those things, and again, I'll take accountability there at times that I may have made some mistakes or, not always made the correct moves, even through some of those situations with people. But I do stand on the fact that at the end of the day, like I'm a good guy. Like I'm a stand-up guy, and I can say when I'm wrong or, make amends when it needs to be. And just beyond that, like, I have such a love and a passion for the culture and for what I do. It's like, that's what it comes down to. Like, I was, like I said, like, I just was trying to get my name on a flyer. Like, so to be here after this much time, and I love the game so much and want to continue to give to it and have done so much. It's like, I'm never going out bad. Like, even at times when I've been counted out, like, that's motivation for me, And it's crazy because even like my mom always says this to me, even like outside of business, just even in my personal life or just things like she's seen me at times where like my back has been against the wall and the way that I prevail or, come through, like that's one of the things that she's always proudest of me about, like watching me, in those type of situations. And I can count that with my career too. Like, you're not the only person that may have thought that at a time or at various times. And it's like, look at me now. But I am a very humble guy. I talk my shit on records and everything. I think in the last like year or two, I've been a little more vocal. Like, nigga, I am the culture. Like, stop trying me. Like, y'all gonna stop playing with what I've done out here. Like, I'm one of the greatest to ever do it.
Facts.
And it's just, but you know, I like being the underdog at times too. Like, you know, I've been put in that position and I've played that role, and you know, I'm content with that. Like, I'm content with continuing to be like, I told you, like, nigga, I told y'all.
But why have you been able to connect, you know, throughout these years with the new generation? Like, you're a generational act.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of artists, a lot of DJs from like the 90s, even the 2000s that just aren't prominent anymore.
Can't adapt.
Yeah, they can't adapt. Why have you been able to do that?
You know, that's a good question. I feel like because one, I think like the beginning of my career, or like me being a mixtape DJ, like for me, I was always addicted to like the new shit, like being like ahead of the curve, or like, you know, what's the new shit, you know? And that's not to take away from like, you know, I think hip hop turning 50, like being able to go to a Wu-Tang and Nas show and have just as much fun as I could at a Playboi Carti show, you know, like, you know, I was a teenager in the 90s, so that's my era. I love that, you know, that's what I ride around to, listening to Delasoul's
coming to streaming.
It's coming to streaming. I can't be more excited. And we got a Gangsta Grills coming, a little sidebar.
Whoa!
But you know, I think that I've just been able to adapt. Like, one thing for me, even when I first got in position, or when I first became like that guy, like in like 04, 05, 06, like for me it was like, okay, you got here, like how do you stay here? Like relevancy was always key for me. Like it just always was something that I felt was important, you know. And you know, we know how, first of all, it's incredibly hard to do in hip hop for a long period, an extended period of time, but we also know how important that is, you know what I'm saying? And even to the public, like, you know, even there were some years when a lot of the public may have not have seen what I was doing, because we were building Generation Now and we were having artists that were in the forefront. But me, myself, you know, being back out here and, you know, being, you know, on projects or however people may see me, it's like, it's a good feeling. And, you know, I feel like this shit keeps us young forever. I said on the tape, like, you know, I'm forever 21 like the store. You know what I mean? like hip hop can, you know, really, you know, this music business, if you allow it to, can, you know, keep you feeling rejuvenated and feeling vibrant. And that's not me trying to be something I'm not. I'm a 44-year-old man about to be 45, but, you know, still being able to connect with the youth and, you know, a younger generation. And I think that, like, you know, now it's like that's a generation that like grew up on Gangsta Grills, and, you know, even now a younger generation that may not have as much grown up on Gangsta Grills as getting hip to it and what have you. And that's like, as much for me, it's important to do tapes with legacy artists like a Jeezy or a Push or a French or something. It's also like, for me, it's like about, you know, finding and working with new artists as well. Like, I think that's always been what separates me from other DJs too, is that I'm not just a DJ that's like all about who the hottest person is, or, you know, the biggest artist. Like, I work with new niggas all the time. Like, and I think that, you know, people respect that about me. And that's something that I enjoy doing, like, you know, being a part of like new movements.
I forgot, B-Dot, you broke the news of a Pusha T Gangsta Grills.
Yes, sir.
You did. That shit went crazy.
Yeah, man. So we was on my Twitter Spaces talking about, you know, the list and stuff like that, and Pusha T was there, and we got Spill the Beans that you guys are working on the Gangsta Grills this year, man. Can you talk about that?
It's pretty exciting. It's something that's been in the works for a minute. Stephen Victor had some conversation. I'm thinking Victor might have came to me. It might have still been like summertime. It was, you know, it was somewhere mid in the year, and was just like, yo, you know, 23, we want to do a Gangsta Grills. And, you know, at the end of last year, I think when Push did an interview, he mentioned like, next year I'm doing an album and a mixtape. And I think I might have retweeted it and put like the eyes or something. And I talked, you know, I checked back in with Victor, and then Push got on the Twitter Spaces when we was on.
Yeah.
and we announced it. So I can't give really much more details than that, you know.
Well, is it gonna be like original production, other people's beats?
It's too early.
Okay.
It's too early. I can't give up the goods yet. This is gonna be one of them ones. It's very highly anticipated. Last time me and Push worked together on the Gangsta Grills was
The re-up?
Yeah, volume 3. I did volume 3. So, you know, I'm excited for this, you know. I'm excited. Definitely, like, you know, Push is Push. And, you know, the space that Gangsta Grills is in right now, it's like, what better time?
Yeah.
Any more 2023 Gangsta Grills lined up that you know?
We got
Absolutely.
Coke Boy 6 right now.
Yeah, we just
French
dropped.
Montana.
Yep.
Jay Stone. Rolling Stone.
Yep. I've been in the studio working with 2C. Damn it, there's definitely some more. What am I not? Joel Santana. There's more, for sure. There's definitely more. It's gonna be a busy year.
Yeah. I know you always talked about the Outkast one that never happened.
Yeah.
Is there one that you're still like aiming for on the wish list?
Definitely a Black Thought, Gangsta Grills. I feel like that's, you know, full circle. Delasoul.
Delasoul is crazy.
Yeah, Delasoul. That's gonna be dope. I'd like to do a Brent Faiyaz one.
That'd be dope.
I'm not sure. Okay, so you know, there's been some conversations about an Alicia Keys Gangsta Grills.
Wow.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Do you like doing the Gangsta Grills like the dedication style, or do you like doing the more original production?
I like them both. Now the only thing for me is that if I'm gonna do a dedication style with an artist, I would want to make sure we go and, you know, dot our I's and cross our T's so it can go to the streaming platforms.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, remember the Fat Joe one got taken down.
The
right?
Fat Joe one got taken down.
Damn.
And then there was another one I did. Who was it? I might have been like, I think it was Jacquees, which was a super dope tape, but, you know, it wasn't original music, so it couldn't go on the streaming platforms. And I just feel like today in 2023, like, if we're gonna do it, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it might take a little bit of time, but it can be done. Speaking of that, yeah, we are dropping Dedication 2 on streaming platforms this year. And it's gonna have some new music along with it. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, I mean, if it's Wayne, absolutely. Like it's hella fun for him to, you know, get on the hottest beats and, you know, go crazy and what have you. But it's just like, for me, definitely, I would just want it to touch as many people as possible. And by doing that, it means going to the DSPs.
Absolutely. And I also see that Jack Harlow's going to come to a Super Bowl near you, man. Doritos commercial.
You peeped that?
I peeped it.
Pocket watching beat up?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's happening.
Jack Harlow's getting a lot of big checks.
Yeah. When it comes to Jack Harlow, like, what's been the most, I guess, gratifying part watching his success?
The whole thing, really. I mean, you know.
Is there like a moment specifically that you just stand up like, damn, this guy's really made it?
I mean, just even now, like, getting ready for his first movie with White Men Can't Jump, you know, watching him host the MTV Awards was pretty big. Really, for me, like, I just remember even during the NBA Finals, I think being at home and watching the NBA Finals, and it was literally like 2 back-to-back commercials. What was it? Kentucky Fried Chicken and New Balance, like back-to-back commercials with Jack Harlow on them, and I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like, I remember, you know, when he fucking walked into the studio, like, with his glasses and his curly hair, you know, and to see where he is now, it's like, you know, I'm really proud of him. I think, like, you know, it's like the son I never had in some ways. So yeah, it's all gratifying, you know. It's like, it's amazing to see, and just that, you know, I definitely even hosting Saturday Night Live. Like, it's one thing for an artist to perform on Saturday Night Live, and it's almost like after the first time he did it, when he performed, I just had this feeling. I was like, yo, next time he does Saturday Night Live, he's gonna be hosting Saturday Night Live, you know? And I don't know for the younger generation if Saturday Night Live means to them what it means like to us of my age or our age, but like, that's a big fucking
That's
deal.
huge.
Yeah,
You
it's a
know,
big deal.
that's huge. And only so many hip hop artists have hosted and performed. Like what? Megan Thee Stallion, Jack,
Drake.
Drake.
Yeah.
Who else? Maybe Kanye, I don't know. But like, yeah, it's not too many hip hop artists that have done both.
Yeah.
Maybe Queen Latifah. So yeah, he's done a lot of amazing, big things in his career.
Yeah. Churchill Downs, one of the best songs of 2022, by the way.
Crazy.
Went
How much
crazy.
fun was shooting that video of the Derby?
We had a lot of fun at the Derby. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was probably like the most epic Derby ever. Like even for the people there to, you know,
Did they know what you guys were doing, or you kind of was?
Nah, they didn't know well, the Kentucky Derby knew that we were shooting a video. The people at the Kentucky Derby weren't. They didn't know. They just wound up, you know, at one point we went out into the audience and fucking Drake and Jack Harlow were right here, and it was a frenzy. Everybody was going crazy, but it was a fun time, you know. It was definitely a celebration, you know, Jack being from Kentucky. And I've been to Kentucky during the Kentucky Derby, but I had never actually been to the actual like race. So, you know, and everybody's dressed up and, you know, you put your fly colors on and shit. So, and Jack's like parents were there and his family, and, you know, his mom's in the video with Drake. So his parents are like the coolest, like super cool, you know. So, and we have a great relationship with them too. So yeah, that was a moment. That was a hell of a moment.
Great record. Remember when it leaked and we had that conversation about it?
Oh man, I was so upset.
I told you, don't worry about it, Dram. Everything's okay. Because the song had leaked online.
Yeah, you did.
And Dram's like, yo, man, the fuck? He called me up.
Jack was pissed too.
Yeah,
Jack called Drake, right? He was pissed.
Yeah, we were actually performing in Boston. We were doing a New Balance gig, and like literally like while we were performing, the song leaked. And then I think like Neelam told me like, yo, like the song just leaked out. So he called, Jack called Drake like right there, like, cause we were trying to think like, should we just drop it or like, you know, what do we do? And, you know, they went back and forth and we decided not to drop it, like, you know, and tried our hardest to, you know, erase it off the internet as much as that's possible. Yeah. You got to catch up with those things. And then Jack had, even before it had leaked, Jack was planning on putting some more bars on there. Right. So I think that was part of, you know, him being upset was that version got out. So then it looked like, you know, the leak happened and then he chose to put some more bars on afterward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
But when it dropped, I was like, Dram, don't worry about it.
Yeah, you
Everything's
did.
great.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
It's a great song.
What you need to worry about is when people hate it.
Right. And you were telling me it was good momentum for the album too. And I was just like, you know, that was like our, you know, that was like our secret weapon. Like, couldn't wait. We didn't announce that Drake was on the project or something, so we wanted to like hit him with that. But it worked out. Yeah. It worked out.
Everything's
great song.
Out. Great song.
Shout out to Boy Wonder.
Yeah.
A lot of great songs. So then I'm really like that album.
Yeah, man.
Before we get out of here, Dram,
like
talk
that.
your shit, man. Why is this one of the best albums of the year, man? Talk your shit.
Listen, man.
Can't believe we made it, man.
I can't believe we made it. You know, I think that, you know, for me, it's like as much shit talking as I do, you know, on people's songs or whatever, like it's motivation. Like, you know, I look at what I do or what I've accomplished in a lot of ways, and like not even just in my success, but in our success. Like, you know, next door in Mean Streets, I have a sign up that says Field of Dreams, and it's like, you know, Field of Dreams is if you build it, they will come. You know, and like I've accomplished so much in my career. You know, I've done some amazing things. You know, and even I'm 2 decades in. You know what I'm saying, and to, you know, I'm hotter than ever, you know what I mean? Like, it could be argued that this is the hottest I may have ever been in my career, you know? So at 44, going on 45 years old, after 2 decades into the music business, to be able to say that shit is like, you know, that's rare. That's very rare. So to be on this album, to have the star power on this album, you know, creatively, it's an amazing body of work. You know what I mean? It's like me talking my shit, you know, the best of the best in hip hop, and you know, I just like, we really like that. Like that's what we do it for, you know, so you can tell the world I'm really like that. You know what I mean? And like for a long time, I was the one that was, you know, quite humble and, you know, laid back and, you know, but like, bro, stop playing with me. Like, you niggas don't do what I do or done what I've done for the culture. And Elliott's gonna stop counting me out.
That's over, no. I give you 2 more decades. I give you 2 more decades.
2 more decades.
2 more decades. You got it.
I'll take that, you know. But it's all, you know, it's all for the love of the culture, you know. Hip hop is turning 50 this year, you know, and I've literally been DJing for 30 years, you know what I'm saying? So like, just to put it in context like that, like, you know, it's amazing, like, you know, what hip hop has provided for us and, you know, given to the world. Like, it's the most dominant music genre ever, you know.
Conquered pop culture. We conquered it.
We conquered it. Like, we are that, you know what I mean? And with that, like, you know, I'm really like that.
Really like that, we gone.
We gone!
Yeah, Wrap It Up Podcast.
Yeah.